Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast, and we are looking at player props here for our Monday night slate in the NBA playoffs. Just a couple games each night as we continue to move forward in these conference semis. Go ahead and make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along as we bring you each and every playoff game with a video and these player props as well. Also head to thelines.com. Make sure you're using that props tool, getting the best juice out there as you shop those lines on NBA player props in the playoffs. And also head to the play.thelines.com for an opportunity to win a $25 Amazon gift card. All you need to do is check out that NBA Daily Pick'em Challenge, get every single game correct, and we will send you that gift card. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or a DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as tonight's player props. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, something we feel confident about is Tyrese Maxey taking on more of a scoring load here early on with Joel Embiid out in both games in Miami. Miami's going to be aware of that. They're going to try to stop him, but I mean, they are more of a physical bang on you team than a team that can stop someone with this type of quickness. Maxey, he can blow by Jimmy Butler. Kyle Lowry's not out there. You put either of those shooters on him, Hero or Duncan Robinson, it's over. And the kid has been very impressive opening that series and closing that series against Toronto. He hit 5 threes in both the opener and closer, 38 points in the opener, 25 in the closing in Toronto. And frankly, could have had a lot more if Toronto was still matching points at that point. I mean, he just kind of caught fire. Miami does not have a Luka Doncic, if you will. They do not have a reliable 30-point scorer. So we love this bet for Maxey to just lead this game and score at plus 340 at DK. That's pretty good odds. I mean, he is kind of a spike type of performer. I feel like he could either have 12 or 30, depending how Miami does guarding him. And they do deny paint points really well, but he has that kind of giant killer floater off the glass that I think once he does get by his man, I don't think Bam's going to be able to stop him from getting his points down low. Just looking at his numbers without Embiid, they've won 3 straight without Embiid in the regular season because Maxey, shot out of a cannon, nearly 29 points per game, 5 assists, which is plus 120 for him to get 5 dimes tonight, and a 58% field goal shooting. I do think he'll be distributing a lot as well. I mean, the prop is 26.5 points assists on top of the 22.5 points. 26.5. Did I say 22 twice?
No, you said it
right. Yeah, but he should be distributing. There's some interesting specials on DK as well for Danny Green, Tobias Harris to hit a couple threes, PJ Tucker on the other end. Miami, just like Milwaukee, is going to dare you to beat them from 3. Then Philly's absolutely going to need those guys to do that. I mean, with Harden and Maxey being the focal points of the offense right now, I think Philly's going to take a lot of threes. I think Maxey's going to either be making that happen or, he's going to be keeping the defense honest by either knifing into the lane and kicking out or by making these floaters that I think he's very capable of making. So just like his points, I mean, the odds are pretty good here at minus 102 for him to get 23 points.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, am I crazy that I'm considering 25 points, 6 boards, and 6 assists for him at plus 2,200? Maybe.
It's a lot of boards.
It's a lot of boards. It's definitely a lot of boards. There's not going to be someone in there that, Paul Reed's going to get some time. He's not going to get that much time. They're going to continue to go small, I think, a lot in this one, and really hope that, that they can figure out ways to get rebounds with their guards. So, but either way, I do like Tyrese on the points and assists. It's the boards that scare you with that plus 2,200, but plus 2,200 also sounds really, really nice. So play it safe. Maybe play a sprinkle a little bit on that if you're feeling a little bit frisky like I am. But one guy you can feel confident about all of his stats, including the rebounds, is Jimmy Butler on the other side of the ball there. 37.5 PRA for him at minus 110, or you can look at the points as 23.5 at minus 108. I kind of like both. It's playoff Jimmy time. The Sixers are not the Hawks in a lot of different ways, but especially being better on offense, being a little bit better, I suppose, down low with in terms of Clint Capella not being there and really being hobbled when he came back. Philly doesn't have their big man down low once again, and that's really why I think you like Jimmy in this matchup. Regardless, is it's playoff Jimmy time, and what he did without Capella in there was walk into the paint at will with someone usually not able to handle his size and strength as he's backing them down from the wing, which will probably be the case in this situation. Again, there's no real good matchup for him on the other side of the ball. Obviously, Matisse Thybulle will do his best, but I still see Jimmy, as you put in some of these notes as well, what he's been able to do against the Sixers in his last 8 since he left them. If you want to look at it as sort of revenge Jimmy, 21 points, 6 boards, and 5.5 assists with a 27.5% usage rate. Really, and in his last 2 this season, you can up that usage to about 32.5% versus the Sixers. And it's the playoffs. In the first round, 37 minutes a game, 54 for 44, 80 splits, 30% usage rate. So he's putting up boards. He's putting up every single stat you really need at 31 points a game. I think 23.5 is still low. You expect less points in this one. 208.5 is the total. I don't feel great about it either way, but I still kind of lean under just because of that Miami Heat defense is locked in. But I still think that Philly defense isn't exactly locked in. And Jimmy is one guy that you can rely on in this offense above all else when you're kind of relying on, if you're taking other guys in this lineup right now outside of Bam or Jimmy, you're hoping for threes to be made because that's really all they have outside of Jimmy or Bam, sort of like I said, just walking into the paint without Embiid there.
Yeah, and that's the key. I mean, Philly did a good job limiting threes from when they were facing Toronto. But then the last 3 in that series, they allowed Toronto to shoot 57% inside the arc. And that's where Jimmy's going to make his hay. Yeah. Matisse Thybulle, we don't know if he's going to be able to stay on the floor. Like, he's eligible to play in Miami. That's great. But he's an offensive negative for this team, which really is going to need offense without Embiid. Also is not going to have rim protection without Embiid. Also has been giving up a ton of free throws with Embiid not totally healthy. So Jimmy, can kind of will his way to the basket, get points in a variety of ways inside the arc and do what he does in the playoffs. Yeah, which is just pile up stats. Very comfortable at home. As you mentioned, the last 2 against Atlanta home games, 66 points on 60% field goal shooting. So totally in control on offense. We're going to stick with Jalen Brunson here as the Mavs shift from Utah to Phoenix. His points prop drops to 19.5. The odds are not as great as they were. You can get better odds if you add 4 assists. Which is a bit tough because, he's only averaging 3 assists per game since Luka has come back. He just doesn't get the ball in his hands as much, but he does get the opportunity to score a lot. He still has 23 points in every playoff game so far in that series. Shot 48% from the field, 36% from deep, hit a bunch of clutch threes to close them out when the defense loaded up on Luka. I mean, and it's the defensive matchups that you have to look at here. If Mikal Bridges is going to be guarding Luka almost the whole game, then Brunson's going to get to bully CP3 the way he bullied Mike Conley, or he's going to get a hobbled Devin Booker, who, similar to the hobbled Donovan Mitchell, was not able to keep Brunson from getting to his spots. And as good as DeAndre Ayton is, he's not the same rim protector as Rudy Gobert. So Brunson, he has a lot of ways to finish down low. Has had success against the Suns the last 3 this season. 19 points per game, nearly 7 assists, also 6 rebounds. I don't hate the total package there, the PRA at about 28.5, because he's still playing nearly 40 minutes alongside Luka. It's just the assists that do seem like they're going to suffer. But I will say he had 10 assists, 9 assists in 2 without Luka against the Suns, Josh, and then 1 assist with Luka back. But playing off ball, 8 for 13 from the floor, hyper efficient when Luka's drawing all that attention, when Luka's drawing defensive player of the year runner up, Mikal Bridges, it's Brunson time.
Yeah, and that's why I stick with the points with him, just because it's Luka being back, and if you want to go even take maybe one more point, get that closer to about minus 105, 104 instead of the minus 124. If he needs 21 points, I think he gets 20 at 20 for sure in this one. I think he's a bad matchup for a lot of different players. And that's what they're doing now is they got Spencer Dinwiddie for a reason. They just really want that spread offense out there at this point, and Jalen and he, at this point, they're playing Jalen a lot more. Spencer Dinwiddie's still coming off the bench and not necessarily fitting in as well with Luka. But Jalen's a guy that's like, they can just say, go stand over there. We'll get you the ball in space and you can do whatever you want with it at that point. And he will. And that's going to continue to be their offense in this series. And so I continue to look at the points for him, especially if they remain under 20, which is great. So I'm going to finish with that guy you mentioned who might not be as good as Rudy Gobert on defense down low, but he's still good. And he's definitely better on offense in terms of DeAndre Ayton's output. Over 18.5 points for his prop tonight as minus 108 on FanDuel. I do like the points and rebounds, which is plus 100. So even money for him to get 31 points and rebounds versus a Dallas team that, they're not really going to have a true center in there at any point in time. There's not going to be anybody that can really bang with him by any means. Dwight Powell will have to probably play more minutes than Kleba in terms of that rotation, depending on how well other guys are shooting. If they need the offense, you might see Kleba in there. And then that's even more reason to like DA in this one. His last 4 versus Dallas, he's only got about 14 points a game, but 16 boards and 2.5 assists. So that does get you to about the 30 points and rebounds. You need 31. You could make it 31.5 PRA and get minus 111, but I think I do trust him for those points. I think he can get 20 and 20 and 11, 22 and 10, something like that tonight in a good matchup for him. And obviously the first round was a pretty good matchup for him as well. Despite Valanciunas being in there, he still had 20.5 points per game on 20.6% usage, shooting 70% from the field, which is, what you expect from him if he's having a really good game. You like him to be close to 70% on his field goal attempts. Everything, even from 15 feet in right now, is wet for DeAndre Ayton. So I think it's a series without a true center opposing him and a good matchup for him to continue to get these props.
Yeah, I think the rebounds are intriguing with him getting 16 per game against Dallas. I believe 17 of the 3 of the last 4 meetings. And this series we talked about is going to be played really slow, which does not mean a lot of opportunities, but it does mean a lot of half-court sets where the traditional center is going to be expected to rebound. We don't know how much Dwight Powell is going to play. Maxi Kleba is certainly, these are 2 of the worst offensive rebounding teams out there. And Dallas is not going to be making it that tough for Ayton to clear. His odds actually just improved to minus 105 at FanDuel to get 12 boards. Also looking at Mikal Bridges at 5 boards is slightly over plus money. He should be playing as many minutes as he can handle, the Iron Man there. It's not necessarily going to be a shootout. We don't expect with these 2 teams playing so much pick and roll. But that does mean Ayton will be the dance partner for CP3, right? And that's why we like him. Both scoring and on the other end clearing. Yeah.
Yeah, and the more you talk about how slow this game is going to be, how few shot attempts there are going to be, obviously you don't love to see that, think about that. But they played this slowly in terms of the Mavs forever now. And so, boards have been coming still at the rate of 16 a game for him. You still got to feel pretty good about the points and rebounds. I think the points will continue to come as well. 18.5. We'll probably see that rise a bit as this series moves along. But that is all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along with us as we bring you each and every playoff game and these player props when we have enough games to give you those props. So until we see you next, happy betting.